The second strategy that we're going to be talking about is learning diagrams. Learning diagrams, just like the clock face, incorporates all three learning modalities. Here's how it'll work. Say we're studying the changes of state. We have melting, vaporization, sublimation, condensation, and freezing. If I were a student, what I would do is I'd focus on this first one, melting. Now, melting is the process that goes from solid to liquid. Thinking about that, the first picture that comes in mind for me is an ice cube melting. So what I would do is I would draw that picture. Here's an ice cube, and to have it melt, let's just draw some of these coming off the ends and making a little puddle. Ooh, little puddle. Doesn't have to be elaborate, but little puddle. Maybe something of that sort. And it's melting. Boom. And then another thing we know about melting is that it's an endothermic reaction. So what I would do is draw an arrow, letting me know that it's going from a solid to a liquid. And an endothermic reaction is where it absorbs energy in the form of heat. So I would say that. I see it, and now I'm going to say melting. Endothermic, because it is absorbing energy in the form of heat. The last thing I would do as a student is do an emotion. I would create a motion. So the motion I have for this is melting, because just like I'm sweating, I'm melting. So I see it, I say it, I'm melting, endothermic, and then I say it. Or I do the motion, melting. Then I go on to vaporization. Vaporization is the process from liquid to gas. What comes to mind for me is a picture of a mug, maybe a liquid, form of hot, and something hot that is steaming out. So I'll draw a little cup, maybe something like this, and then inside, here's how it's steaming out, like that. Okay. And to let me know that it is an endothermic reaction, I'm going to draw an arrow going out and going out. Because it is absorbing energy in the form of heat. Then I see it, and now I'm going to say it. Vaporization. Endothermic, as energy is being absorbed in the form of heat. My motion, vaporization. I see it, I say it, I do the motion. After I've created my learning diagram for vaporization, I would go back to melting. Go back to the first one. Alright? I see it, I say melting, endothermic. Energy is being absorbed in the process of heat. Then I would go back to vaporization. I see it, I say it, vaporization, endothermic. Energy is being absorbed in the process in the form of heat, and then I do the motion, vaporization. And then I go to sublimation. For me, something that comes, this is, as you know, the process from a solid to a gaseous form. And so I'm going to draw another ice or dry ice cube, and because it goes from that into a gaseous form, I'm just going to do a little wisps going on to make cloud. Just make a cloud as it happens to do that. There we go. I see it. This is again an endothermic as energy is being absorbed in the form of heat. And then I do the motion, and my motion for sublimation is sublimation. Then again, as what we stated before, we would go back to melting, seeing it, saying it, and doing the motion. Vaporization, again doing that. And then sublimation, seeing, saying, and doing it. And then moving on to condensation. And then again, after we've created that learning diagram, we would go back to melting, vaporization, sublimation, condensation, and then ending with freezing. Learning diagrams use another tool called circuit learning. And that is that process, what we just talked about, of reviewing, going from 1, and then learning 2, going back to 1, 2, reviewing, going to 3, reviewing 1, 2, and then 3, going to 4, reviewing 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. And that right there is learning diagrams.